Hey everybody, Lady Cheryl here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I hope you will find something that you can use in your gardening and that you will subscribe, like the video, and also share it on your social media platforms. That way, the 70-year-old gardener can reach more people. I'm going to take you on a full tour of my garden. I'm going to share with you first what I've been doing in the garden for the last couple of days, and then I'm going to remove all of the insect netting off of the containers and share with you the progress. I took this staining from this male flower over here, and I hand pollinated this right here, and I think that'll be enough. If we hadn't had the rodent issue, we would not have had this problem. Usually I would get 5 to 6 squash per plant, but because I had to cover the plants up to protect them from rodents for several weeks, I couldn't get in there and hand pollinate the fruit in time for them to survive. But the good news is butternut squash is a winter squash, and it can handle temps as low as 28 degrees. So one squash is better than nothing, and I'm just, happy to be doing this. And I'm going to cover them up real good and try to keep that temperature above 28 degrees whenever we get a freezing temperature. Okay, guys, it's been 3 days since I sprinkle some seeds into this garden bed that have daffodils up under them. And right here I put 1, 2, 3 rows of red giant mustard greens, and over here I put 4 rows of mustard spinach. I love this weather because low 70s, upper 40s, 50s at night is really conducive to growing leafy greens. And over here, this is where I sprinkle the little gem lettuce seeds. They're doing well. And right here is where I pricked out some of the radishes that I had overseeded in the hanging baskets. And right here, this is whatchamacallit, where anything that I thinned out in the 2 green stalks, I just put it in here. And I have my hoops in place for frost cover when they get larger, but I'm gonna let these grow up just a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna cover them with insect netting. In fact, I think I'm gonna do it today. We put insect netting on these 3 beds. This is 1, 2, and then the 3rd one over here. And make sure before you put your insect netting over your garden beds or containers, spray with your neem oil and peppermint, or you could use lavender or rosemary, what essential oil you prefer, with just a drop or 2 of dish soap. Now this is a little bit stronger than I would normally make it. I added a little more neem oil than I normally would, and I don't really measure, so I can't give you no exact formulas. Just do what you think is best. There are a lot of essential oils that will repel insects. My favorites, of course, are named peppermint and lavender, rosemary, eucalyptus, and another one I like to use is centrola. So just try and experiment to see which works best for you in your garden. Here's another little tip here. You see your tomatoes? If you're gonna cover them up, to make sure that your tomatoes pollinate, just shake them a little bit because they're pollinating from the wind. Okay, you can see those tomatoes in there. Here is another tomato plant. I just make sure that I shake it up a little bit every day. You can see the blooms right there. I've got 1 more tomato plant down here, and so I'm gonna shake it up really well. Yeah, that should do it, because all of the tomatoes are going to be harvested, whether they are ripe or not. I'm going to harvest them before it gets 32 degrees. So now you know why I make it a little bit stronger for me to put on the outside. And this looks like something right here. Take care of that. Temperature is dropping. I've got to get ready to go to my granddaughter's induction into the National Honor Society. That's Bria, and her mom and dad is out of town on a business trip. So I have to stand in and take her, and she's going to miss her cheerleading practice today. And when her mother texted the coach, she told her to please take some pictures and send them to them because they will add it on their website. This is a private cheerleading school. They want to show that the cheerleaders are not only talented in cheer, and not only are they pretty, but they're intelligent too. Isn't that rose pretty? I'm going to check on the one butternut squash that I'm trying to hold on to. I hand pollinated it yesterday, and it looks like it's holding on. It's Monday, November 25th. I'm sitting outside and I'm looking at the weather report that I posted here, and you can see that on Thanksgiving, that next morning, the temperature is going to drop to about 33 degrees. Now, it won't stay 33 degrees for a long time, just for an hour or so, but I'm not taking any chances, and I'm going to today remove all of the insect netting from my garden, but I will leave the insect netting on the raised garden beds because I haven't seen any moth or any bad insects around, and I'm going to let them breathe, and I will apply a weak solution of neem oil spray on them every day until I cover them up with frost cloths on the day before Thanksgiving. The first insect netting cover I took off was my strawberries, and I want to show you something. You remember, these are new strawberry transplants. They are trying, because the weather's been so good, to put on strawberries. See there? So I don't want those because they're going to be real small anyway. And the first season, I want them to just concentrate and take a bad leaf off here on producing good, strong roots. So also, you see these watering containers? I watered this first so I don't dilute my neem oil spray. And you can see it's been sitting out here, so the oil has come up to the top. So that will give you an idea about the ratio of water that I want in a weak solution. Now, I bought this for my, off of TikTok for my houseplants. It's supposed to be, you know, good for you to use with the peppermint oil in it, so it won't make my room smell so bad, my bedroom jungle. And I liked it, but I said, shoot, for $19.99, guys, I can make this myself. So it's okay. But so I used it up, and I have a weak solution of neem oil spray in here. And again, if you're new to my channel, it's just neem oil, water, and a few drops of dish soap. And you can use liquid Castile, which is more organic. I removed the netting off of this container. It's looking good, as you can see, no damage. So I'm gonna spray it real good. You can see the cabbages are just beginning to try to head. This was a real weak little seedling that I had. And sometimes when I have the room, I don't throw them away just to see what'll happen. And it looks like it's fighting to survive. I'm going to just spray this with neem oil. The soil is still moist, so I don't have to water it. And again, I'll use my weak solution of neem oil. In this container, I'm growing rainbow Swiss chard and Siberian dwarf kale. Everything's looking good in here. The kale could be thinned out a little bit, but I'm going to wait and see what survives the cold snap that we'll get the day after Thanksgiving. But I sprayed everything good with neem oil spray. Container, I have winter spinach, and you can see I have a lot of mushrooms growing up here, just indicating that it's healthy soil. Now that the cover is off, they will dry out and break down, and it'll be fine. And remember, this spinach can take a very low temperature. This is my perennial container here. I have cone flowers, or echinacea will come back next year, and I dropped some of the seeds in the soil before it got too cool, and so they'll come back. And then I have dianthus in these 3 plants right here. Here is the butternut squash container. You guys remember I took the cover off it a couple of days ago, and the squash that I hand pollinate is holding on. Now I'm in my prayer garden, and you can see those plants are doing well there. I just sprayed it with neem oil to keep some insects off of them. Roses are growing like crazy, okay? And I took the cover off of my giveaway, is what I call this container. It has purple top turnips and 7-leaf turnips. And again, I saw a few mushrooms in here, probably because it's so moist over here. Now, if it bothers you, you can just pick them up, guys, and put them in your compost. But I assure you, they are not poisonous. They aren't edible. You can leave them there and they'll dry out. Or, like I said, put them in your compost. See that triangular oxalis? That can't take a freezing temperature. So you can see it's moist if I go in close. I've been spraying it every day with neem oil because that's another one that I'm going to bring in because I was originally growing it as a houseplant. Okay, I took the cover off of this one. Do you all remember this tomato plant that the rodents were eating? Well, look at here. We saved them. Look at all those tomatoes. Aren't they pretty? Beautiful tomatoes. I have basil in here, more tomatoes down here. And you can see they're blooming at the top. This plant needs to get a lot of air. I will protect it if the temperature doesn't go below 32 degrees. I'll keep protecting it. But once it drops to 32, I'll harvest whatever I can. They can green up inside. The basil is doing good too. You see it's going to seed. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm very happy that I saved this plant from the rodents. Looking good. Look at these little cute little tomatoes. I get excited. I love gardening. I can't help it. All grown from a seed. Beautiful. The basil is grown from a seed. This tomato was grown from a seed, but these weren't. These were clearance plants that I got on sale at Lowe's in the life support section. This container is looking good. It has Bloomsdale spinach. They're going to get pretty big, and you see a lot of little weeds in here. So I usually don't let the weeds get out of control because I'm 70 years old and I'm retired, so I don't have another job. Sometimes I see gardeners with videos with a lot of weeds, and I really admire them, and I'm not criticizing them because they work full-time jobs. And then they do their gardening in addition to a full-time job. So you're going to see some weeds in those gardens. And yeah, because I'm retired, I just come in here and I usually weed out every day that I'm working in the garden. While I'm watering, I'll stoop down and pull out the weeds. But because we had that rodent issue and I couldn't get in here because this was covered up, that's why you see all these weeds in here. But I guarantee you they're going to be out of here over the next few days because I'm just going to sit on my little bench and just pull them out. This is Bloomsdale spinach. I've grown it before. It's going to get real big. Not tall, but wide. Therefore, I don't want to add any more to this container. I removed the netting off of this container, and you can see some damage. But guess what? Look what I caught on sale, as my mama used to say. Look at those pretty tomatoes in there. And remember, the rodents were eating them. Look at here. I am so happy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got a little damage. I'm going to clean it up. Not today, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to prune like this. All these little bad leaves out here that are turning yellow. So I can do my best to try to get these tomatoes ripened, or at least blushing before we get below 32 degrees. Ain't that beautiful? It was worth covering up. And I'm just looking at the leaves up here. They're beginning to turn a little bit. I predict that I have 2 to 3 more weeks And I'm gonna look at that apple tree over there. Going closer. It's turning a little bit, just a little. I think I got about 3 weeks. So let me get the rest of the cup there, y'all. While I was spraying it, I saw some more tomatoes. Yeah, this is really cool. I just wish I had more time. Wish I had another month to go before it gets too cold. Look over there. Can you see them? I'm gonna go in closer. There are 3 tomatoes. There's a big one, but there are 3 tomatoes right in that area. If I had more time, this plant would be loaded. Here's another 25-gallon container that looks absolutely fantastic. You can see the Utah tall celery. Look at that. Look at those stalks. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. I'm amazed because I haven't seen them in a while. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I was telling my daughter she wouldn't have to buy any celery for her dressing for Thanksgiving. And I think I put 1 little kale plant in here. Siberian kale right there. And then 2 cabbages. Yep, looking good. You can see the cabbage are now getting ready to start forming heads. And I have more celery that I didn't cover up because nothing was bothering it over here. Okay, this container was one of the worst ones that was hit by the rodents. The good news is they're blushing. So I can take these in the house. Just gonna take that off. And it's actually 2 plants. And you can see tomatoes, and it's okay. If they don't ripen, they'll ripen in the house, and the little ones, I'll just pickle them. So let me cut this off and spray this down real good. In this container, I have beets and carrots, and I can see a little insect damage, but nothing serious, and I don't see any cabbage worms in here. I've been looking really good, but I'll keep an eye on it, and I do see a few weeds. Like right here. And I'll be working on these every day to make sure I get the weeds out of here. The wind is very high in North Texas, and even though it's real cloudy, it's no rain expected in the forecast, but it is very windy here, and so when you get that fall grass that grows weeds, it'll blow, even over the fence, okay? So I'm going to spray this real good. The container is doing really well. We have a mixture of carrots, beets, Bloomsdale spinach, and a few weeds that I'll get out. This ground is nice and moist, so all I have to do is just spray it with me. This is the last container. It's doing well. And here we have 7-leaf turnips and purple top turnips. See a few little weeds, I'll take them out on another day, but I'm very, very pleased with this container. I decided to keep the insect netting on the beds that have seedlings that are very, very tiny. So those 2 and this one over here, I don't want to take a chance. I'm gonna let them grow a little bit bigger. And over here in this large garden bed, you can see everything is growing beautifully. If you look real close, you won't see any insect damage. I just spray on top of the netting, and it will penetrate the netting. And over here, I'm keeping this insect netting on until Wednesday when I come and harvest some collard greens out of here. And I have collard greens canned, but I want to do fresh for my Thanksgiving contribution to the dinner. And collards taste sweeter when they are kissed by a frost, and we haven't received one yet, but that's okay, because my grandmother and my mother taught me how to put a tablespoon of vinegar and a tablespoon of sugar in my collard greens. This concludes this video. I'm not in it because I have on 2 heavy robes and a pair of pajamas because it's chilly and windy out here. And Brian and Bria, my grand angels, are at their private karate and cheerleading practices. And I couldn't find my tripod. Guys, brand new one. I don't know where I put it, but that's what happens when you turn 70. And so I just want to share everything with you. And I'll come back when I put the frost cloths on and harvest some greens. Thank you so much for watching my video. You know that I love you, and God loves you too. Bye now.